Good morning. My name is Jeff Pearcy, and I am pleased to be the worship associate for today's service. Over the last decade, I have used my camera to tell stories of marginalized people all over the world. All of these projects have roots firmly sourced in Unitarian Universalism. My work has been shaped by our theology. Sometimes, though, this work challenges the principles that I love from our faith. Last month, I was documenting the ongoing work in a village hospital in Sierra Leone. It was my fourth visit to this village. As a warning, the story includes references to life and death of children. If that subject is upsetting to you, then please mute me through the rest of the story. Following the service, I will be in the virtual coffee hour. The baby died, sucking for oxygen through an oversized adult mask because there were no infant-sized oxygen masks. The tube connected to a 10-liter oxygen generator that shut off when solar power was exhausted in the middle of the night, and the diesel generator failed to start. I was sleeping in a hot, humid room with a small fan blowing hot air around. I woke immediately when the fan quit in the middle of the night. "Oh God," I breathed, as I lay in the bed staring at the ceiling, counting my breaths to pass the time, waiting for the generator to start and the weak fan to resume. Knowing that each minute that passed was a minute that the baby was without oxygen to maintain her little life. The baby died. I was in Sierra Leone earlier this month photographing and documenting the amazing progress that the organization I work with has made in this small village hospital in Malawi. I photographed an abdominal surgery and a crude surgical theater. Many people are returned to health here. When I work in Africa, I am always struck how the accident of birth has placed me in the United States as a white male of enormous privilege. I am surrounded by a supportive community. My wife, Jerry, she's my soulmate, is a constant source of love and support. There's a group of UU men who I see every week. They are my best friends. Even in the Zoom atmosphere of church, I am nurtured. Someday soon, we will be meeting in person again, and I'll be able to touch some of you. The community steals me for the work that I do in Africa. It sustains me through its love expressed in my closest confidants. It will heal my bruises. It is easy to live my values in the privileged existence in Milwaukee. In Africa, the baby was admitted earlier that day and taken to the bare room that serves as an emergency room. My friend, Augusta Olafsdotter, was a visiting physician from Christ Hospital in Chicago. The baby had malaria and malnutrition. She had retained significant urine and her bladder was swollen. There are no infant-sized catheters to provide relief. There was no infant-sized mask to provide oxygen, so an adult-sized one was fitted over her full face. Her arms and legs were dehydrated, and the IV needles were adult-sized and too large. Finally, a skilled lab tech was able to insert a line in her scalp. Medication and nutrients began to flow. The hospital has one 5-liter oxygen concentrator and one 10-liter. The 10-liter was used in another room with a 58-year-old woman with pneumonia. The baby needed it. The oxygen generators were switched. Dr. Olafsdotter said, "We will keep the woman as comfortable as possible, but this decision means she will die." 58 is considered a long, full life in Sierra Leone. When resources are scarce and care must be rationed, it challenges my love of our principles that all life has inherent worth and dignity. Sometimes I think that our theology is based on an assumption of abundance. It is a struggle to make sense of life and death in scarcity. Who's worthy to be saved? William F. Schultz, a former head of UUSC and prior to that with Amnesty International, wrote in the UU World magazine of 2006, "It is the worth and dignity of every person inherent." No, inherency is a construct, a useful myth, perhaps, but a myth nonetheless. Each of us has to be assigned worth and taught to behave with dignity. So who does the assigning of worth? Well, in the village on those 2 days, it was 2 physicians and myself. who determined who was worthy. The 58-year-old woman died that afternoon. Due to the lack of appropriate equipment, the baby died that night. I am back now, surrounded by privilege and far more important by the sustaining love of my friends. I don't expect our faith to provide answers. For now, it is enough that it provides space for me to ask questions and engage in the thorny discussions of a life where answers are not found in bright line definitions.